So you know the ones when you're listening to a song that you really like and you're like, that's my tune. That's my tune. Hey, this is Jojo B and this is episode 30, the 30th episode of That's My Tune, the podcast providing song reviews and interviews. Give me a second, let me just celebrate. Yay, happy 30. Woo! On Friday, I had the pleasure of interviewing composer and songwriter Sean Patterson. Today, I'll be interviewing the lovely Cherri V regarding her song Double Decker. So sit back, relax, enjoy this lovely acoustic vibe. And when I'm back, you'll be hearing from the lady herself regarding the song and a whole lot more. So enjoy. Hi, everybody. I'd like to introduce you to Cherri V. Woo! Do you know what? I really need to find that effect because I just want to do a podcast. And I need to find it. Yeah, thanks.
It's a popular one, isn't it?
It's a very popular one. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm actually really, really good.
Cool. So let's get into it. So Double Decker. It's a very, very raw, very transparent song. And I'd like to know what inspired you to write it.
Double Decker was inspired by some of my life events. I just feel sometimes when either it's a friendship, relationship, and sometimes when people fall out of family members and stuff as well, like people have the tendency to kind of expose, you know, secrets that you shared when you were on good terms. And I think that's what the whole thing, the whole phrase double decker's about, is like throwing somebody under the bus just because you've fallen out. So that was the inspiration behind it. And just basically the other kind of message was quite layered because it's like I've owned my part, any wrongdoing, sorry. So if I have done that, then in my opinion, nobody can come for me. You know what I mean? So if you're trying to throw me under the bus, I'm not going under the bus because I've already owned it and I'm kind of walking in my power because of that.
Wow.
And apologized. I've owned it and apologized.
Yeah. Wow. That is dope. I love how you explained the title Double Decker, throwing someone under the bus, because I didn't think of that, but when you think about it, it makes sense. I love it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
No, go on.
No, I'm good. Sorry, I got my bad. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, it's just like, it's funny because people have asked me and it's like, I guess I don't really see it as that big of a metaphor, but obviously people digest music and lyrics in different ways. And that's why like I love having these conversations because lyrics are so important to me.
Definitely, yeah.
And I, as much as I'm like very like vivid when it comes to I think vivid is the right word, or very open when it comes to writing. Sometimes people don't always, you know the deeper meaning behind it. So yeah, I love having these conversations. It's good.
So what made you, okay, two questions. One, why the name Cherri V? And two, why did you decide that, okay, as an artist, I'm going to be somebody who's transparent, someone who's open? Like, yeah, talk to me.
Do you know what? The name Cherri V, my actual given name from my gran and my mum was Cherri.
Okay.
And to be completely honest, I remember at the time I was thinking of coming out as a solo artist. I'd been in a group before and stuff. And when I wanted to step out as a solo artist, and even when I was in a group, like the name Cherri was familiar to me because of Cherri from Big Brothers. And I don't know if you're familiar, but before Big Brothers, she had like a solo stint. She like won some mobile competition and like she was all over the radio and like she's such a banging talent. And that name, for me, that name was already out there. So I remember like being in LA, like with the group and thinking like I was working with some Swedish producers at the time.
Right.
And they kept calling me Cherri and kept calling me, like, saying my name really wrong. And then I was thinking, and then I think someone suggested a few different names because I wanted a nickname
Right.
for the group.
Yeah.
And then Cherri kind of came up and that kind of stuck. And I thought to myself, to be honest, I'd rather have something that's like not too far away from Cherri's, but something that's similar, but that's something that's a bit more my own. And that's where that name comes. And the V is for my my middle name, my surname.
Okay.
And it's on a lot of my socials, but I haven't like said this to anyone, but I actually am planning to make the transition from Cherri V to Cherri Vonsell.
Okay.
Just because I feel like I've grown quite a lot, and I just feel like I'm about to step into maybe like the next phase and like being more honest and just like really embracing woman. Which leads on to the answer to your next question about like being transparent and stuff. Like, to be honest, like I don't know how to write any other way than be honest. I mean, in the beginning of my journey, I guess I would write songs like being in a club and like, you know, like, I don't know, dancing around and I saw that boy from across the room and all that stuff. But I thought about like what makes me feel a certain way when I touch a certain subjects that are close to home, like what connects and where I feel good in my writing space, like just literally having a conversation and being honest. And I find it's like sometimes it's a gift and I don't want to say a curse, but it's a gift, and sometimes it can be quite difficult because I feel like some people want me to be involved in maybe like their journey as a writer, but I feel like I just do me best because obviously I'm just giving you my heart. I'm just giving you my thoughts as unorthodox and as crazy as they may seem. I just prefer to just put it to melody and deliver it like that.
Okay. So you mentioned that you were once part of a group. What was the name of the group, and were you guys successful? And what made you decide to go solo?
Oh, this was a while ago. Yeah, the group was called Trinity Stone. We were like had a major deal, and we didn't have any like mainstream success. We just had like a crazy industry buzz at the time. And it was just like a normal story. Like we got signed, spent like, I don't know, just under 2 years together, lived together, done that whole like recording an album, went to LA, all that stuff. And then we got dropped. So when we got dropped and like, there was no kind of like, there was no talks of like us going to another label and getting signed, and everyone kind of like going their own way. And I was kind of like, I was like told that I should be a songwriter and not an artist. I just kind of rebelled against that, and I was like, what, just a songwriter? Yeah, you don't think I'm gonna be an artist? All right, cool. Yeah, exactly. And that was a catalyst for Cherri V, and I stepped out in MySpace days. And
MySpace, oh my gosh.
I just started building a support system for myself and a following online. And that's all it's kind of ever been since, really, just independent.
Oh, cool. So how did you, because I know you used to be part of another, well, more of a duet called Dora Martin with Jermaine Riley. So how did you guys meet, and how was that? And how comes you two still aren't Dora Martin anymore?
Well, we met years ago in a dance class in South London. Husky Studios to be exact. And I think this was just before like Fundamental, the group that Jermaine was in.
I remember.
And then we just hit it off. Like our humor's very similar. We had a lot of mutual friends, and we used to just sit on the phone and write, or like just show each other like each other's ideas and stuff. And like a lot of people that was working with at the time used to say like we were like the male and female version of each other, just because of our humor and I guess work ethic and like, do you know what I mean? Just certain things. So we've just always known each other and written together. And like, I think when I was on tour once in some weird country, we would just be on Skype and just chatting. And then we was like, oh, we should do a project together. Like, I think it was around the time of like, I don't know, Jay-Z and Kanye watched The Throne. We were like, yeah, we should do a project together. And then like the more that we started thinking about it, we were like, let's just make it a thing. Like, let's give ourselves like, we wanted to sound like a brand. We wanted to sound like Louis Vuitton. We wanted to sound like, I don't know, Giuseppe Zanotti. Like, we wanted to sound something like that. So we wanted to give ourselves a name, which was far away from anything either of us had stood by as solo artists.
Right.
And then, you know, there was the birth of Dora Martin. And it's funny because we done the first EP and we covered so much ground. We done a couple of tours and we opened for amazing artists in concert and loads of features and stuff like that. And then I think when it came to like EP2, we were just literally in different mental spaces. So we decided to like pause it. And then we both kind of like just we both pursued some more solo stuff. But I think the Dora Martin conversation is always up in the air. Like, we still talk about it. There's still songs that are there that we love that nobody's heard yet. We haven't put like a cap on it to say like, oh, it's not happening again. It's just a when. To be honest, like before COVID, we actually like spoke on the phone one day and we were like, oh, what are you saying, 2020?
Right.
And then we were like, oh, cool, let's go. Like 2020, let's wrap up what we're doing in 2019.
Right.
And then 2020, let's go. And then obviously everyone knows what happened.
Yeah.
So everything was just parked, innit?
Yeah.
But yeah, Dora Martin's a lot. The conversation's up in the air and who knows?
Okay.
Who knows?
Cool. So moving on from that, not only are you and Jermaine, we're still working together in terms of music-ish, but you guys also have your own podcast called the Middle Eight Pod. You, Jermaine Riley, and Ricardo Williams, which I'm a fan of, by the way. Talk about that. How did you guys come together and be like, you know what, let's do this?
You know what? Ricardo tweeted it first. Ricardo was the catalyst. Like, he was like, I feel like I want to start an R&B podcast, but who would be on it? And I remember, like, I used to have this joke with Ricardo because I think I put a poll on my Instagram saying, oh, what do you class my music as? And I had like one answer was like R&B pop and the other answer was R&B soul.
Right.
And Ricardo, I think, clicked R&B pop.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, is it? You think I'm R&B pop? Yeah. So it was like R&B. It was like R&B beef or whatever. Yeah. He was like, oh, you're not R&B enough or whatever.
Yeah.
And then so obviously when he made the announcement about wanting to start an R&B podcast, I was like, well, you know, I would suggest myself, but I don't think you'd think I'm R&B enough. So
that's a good one.
Yeah. So I don't know if I would you know, be fitting for the criteria that you're looking for. But yeah, so he was like, stop being silly, whatever. So I was like, I'm in. But I was like, if I'm doing it, like, we've got to get Jermaine because just of the banter, his personality, and all three of us, I felt like together at the time. I thought, it's a good balance of three different personalities, characters, and opinions. And then we just said, like, we're not going to wait until like COVID calms down and we're getting a space. Like, let's just Zoom it and just see how we feel. And then we just birthed the podcast. Like, Ricardo is actually a whiz at like doing lots of the graphic design stuff, editing stuff. So kudos to him. And Jermaine does the logos and stuff like that. So, and obviously I just chat. So yeah, I think all three of us together, it makes like quite a cool team. And you know what, we've got so much. I feel like I've got a lot closer to Ricardo during this process, and that's been nice because I've always just had like a banter relationship with him online, like something like if he says wild stuff, I always pull them up about them saying wild stuff like, I'm gonna have the best R&B album of the century and I'm gonna have the best UK R&B album, no one can chat to me, all that stuff. And I always used to pull him up, like being his WhatsApp, like, stop chatting, bruv, stop gassing up your ting, bruv, calm down, whatever. So now, I think we've got a lot closer as friends, and that's nice as well to kind of have that bond as well. So that's the story, really.
So what's the response been since you guys have done the podcast?
It's been so good. You know why? Because the common denominator and the thing that everybody says is that they just feel like it's just so real.
Yes.
They just feel like somebody messaged me and he was like, somebody I really respect it really messaged me and he was like, do you know what? I feel like I'm sitting in a studio with you guys after you've had a session or before we have a session and you lot are just chatting about industry, life, having a bit of a joke, like calling each other out on our foolishness, like drawing man out. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so honest. And that is where I am at in my life, where it's like music, anything I do online or like what I do day to day is authenticity. That's where I'm at. So I'm just loving being a part of that and having people identify with that, and also having like just we've given some artists some warnings, and I feel like we've had messages saying that we've actually helped save some artists from some online scams that are going on right now.
That episode, boy.
And we've had people message us and just say like, thank you for talking about that, because a lot of people don't talk about these things. And then people are falling in the ditches. And then when everything's all, you know, crumbling, it's like, that happened to me too. It's like, why didn't you tell me? Like, why didn't somebody speak about this? So I'm glad that we're able to shine a light on some things, and hopefully that, you know, a lot of these things come to light and these things can be shut down.
For real, because it's ridiculous. Like, well, when it comes to when I saw you guys' podcast, I thought, okay, let me give it a go. And I literally, anytime I see a new episode, I'm like, right, I plan, okay, I'm gonna watch it at this time. I sit down and I watch it. Like, I don't do anything else. And I love the real conversations. I love that it's UK. It's all UK peeps that I can relate to somewhat. And I've kind of been following your careers on and off with all three of you, so I just love sitting down and just watching it, and I laugh and I love the real how real it is. Please keep on. I'm a fan. I love it. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And also, just to also add, in terms of being a fan, I love the sound of your voice. When I hear your voice, I think purity in terms of your voice makes me think of like water or glass, like it's so clear. It's
wow.
Especially when you hit the higher notes, it's like you're not struggling to hit high. I don't know how to explain it, but your voice is just like pure to me. Like that's the best. Your tone is just pure to me. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, that's so nice, man. You said water or glass. Yes, I'm gonna put that one in my back pocket.
Go ahead. For the autobiography, she said it's water and glass.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
One other question though. Please tell me about Vexation Veronica, because Vexation Veronica. What made you sit down one day and be like, do you know what? I need to go.
It happened by accident, honestly. Okay. And it's been something that I've done on and off for years. I never really made a point of it until I kind of started the page. Yeah. And obviously I drop off every now and again because obviously I'm just doing like artistry stuff or whatever, or just day-to-day stuff. But like it is literally, Vexation Veronica is literally every sister, auntie, elder, like that I grew up in church with. Right. It's that auntie that lives like in Jamaica. It's that grandma that like on your mum or dad's side. Yeah. It's just those people that I've encountered. It's that woman that you always see in the corner shop that's cussing about something, and like the regular from your neighborhood that you might call auntie. So it's just so many different characters. Yeah. And I think people relate because it does. A lot of people that relate say that it reminds them of someone that is from their family, and the same like someone that they grew up with. Yeah. And I spent a lot of time with my gran and my great gran. Okay. And both of them are on either side of the spectrum. One is like First Lady, church, New Testament, like every Sunday, prayer meeting, Tuesday, choir practice, Wednesday, Thursday, Bible study. Yeah. And my other gran is like dancehall queen type of thing. Them ones. Like, yeah. So literally I've had experience of having two different types of Jamaican mothers. Right. And I've pulled a lot from them. And then both of them are very comical in their own ways. My mum and dad are like natural comedians as well. So it just all comes from there. It all comes from there, and it's just real. It's just real, and it's just taken from my life experiences growing up, and it's my comfort spot, because even when I'm talking to my friends, I naturally go into that voice.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm telling somebody off, or when I feel like something's not right.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, I don't know about that, darling. Like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But it's just something that's just natural and in me, man. And I never knew that people would respond to it the way that they have.
Yeah.
Especially in lockdown, people have just been like, oh, this sometimes this makes my day, and like you've made my morning. And people just love comedy. It is challenging though, like dealing with like people that really interact with that page. Don't really interact with my music page much. But it's funny. It's just so funny. But people love comedy. They want to laugh. So I get it.
Yeah, please keep doing it, because it's absolutely, like, I'm not Jamaican, but I've grown up around Jamaicans and stuff like that. And even the subjects that you talk about, like, you just talk about random things, like everyday things that will annoy you. And like your accent, or the way it's, because you choose that filter that has that high pitched voice, or you make up these random songs, like when you, it's like the whole thing, like, and because the filter as well, it exaggerates your looks as well. The whole thing is just, please don't ever stop doing it. I need it in my life.
Mad girl, isn't it?
And I guess it's like a release for you, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Because there are things that I guess I rant about on that page that I wouldn't necessarily post a video about on my page.
Yeah.
So that's a vibe as well.
Yeah, I hear that. So any new projects or singles coming out later on in the year?
Yeah, I'm actually like putting together an acoustic EP at the moment.
Okay.
Which I'm really, really excited about, and really like something I want to do for ages, and something that I feel a lot of people have kind of like said to me that I should do for a while, but for just stripping back and just allowing people to just experience the raw vocal. So I'm enjoying doing that with just like literally one guitarist, producer, Jason Bond.
Okay.
And yeah, that's been nice. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And also just kind of like thinking and moving towards an album, and just kind of seeing how I can plan this out so it's the most in the most effective way as possible. So yeah, just like planning and seeing where I want to take my story next.
Okay, cool. And I just want to clarify something real quick. When I said about Vexation, Veronica, that accent made me laugh, I'm not making fun of the Jamaican accent, just so that nobody takes my thing out of context. Yeah, I just throw that out there, because I don't want anyone like taking that part there and be like, oh, so she's making fun of Jamaican. No, it's not.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say?
Exactly. So no, the Jamaican accent is not something to make fun of. I respect Jamaicans. I love the culture. I love the food. I'm just putting that out there. So I hope I redeem myself.
Love it. Love that.
So where can we find you on socials?
All my socials, Cherri Voncelle, CherriVonCelle. And that's me.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, it's just like so cool. Well, you have a good rest of the day, yeah?
Yeah, thank you so much. Love you too.
All right, thanks. Bye.
All right, bye.
And that's episode 30 done. Thank you so much for your time, Cherri V. It was great speaking with you. Episode 30, I mean, oh my goodness, it's just so beautiful. Oh. If you'd like to connect with me, you can. On Twitter, Ms. JoJoB, MZJOJOB. Everything podcast related, you can go on linktr, linktr.ee/TMT_podcast. And you can email that'smytunepodcast@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe, tell everybody about this lovely podcast. I'll be back next Tuesday with yet another episode. Until then, have a great week. Bye-bye.